All right, guys. So welcome to the first lesson of the Thrive Nutrition course, where in this video today, we're going to go through two things. First is the nutrition pyramid, and second is our 3 nutrition rules, and this creates the Thrive Nutrition basics. So let's take a look around at the nutrition pyramid. As you can see, there are a number of layers to the pyramid, and the importance is based on the base being the most important and getting less important as we move our way up the pyramid. So there are 6 different tiers. We have adherence at the bottom, then we have our calories, macronutrients just above, so that's including things like our carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Then we move on to micronutrients, meal timings, and finally supplements. Supplements are often where people start to focus when they're looking at getting in shape, when actually they make very little difference if you don't have the tiers below in place already. So during this course and during the time at the gym with us at Thrive, we're going to focus primarily on these bottom 3 layers highlighted here, and that's adherence, calories, and macronutrients. Because if we get these right, then we can make some really impressive progress. All right, so let's touch on the nutrition rules. Now we know it's easy to get lost and confused when it comes to nutrition. It's like a can of worms. There's loads of confusing and conflicting information out there, with lots of people with different opinions and advice. So we like to make it nice and simple. Here, that's what nutrition is all about. It's about simplicity. There are no fads, no crash diets, no dirty bulk, no weird supplements, and definitely no restrictions. Just a few simple, very effective, flexible guidelines that are easy to put into action and even easier to adjust to suit your goals, your personal preferences, and your lifestyle. So it's important to get these 3 nutrition rules right, because essentially getting your nutrition right so you can improve your strength, your body composition, your health, your performance, and it can be broken down into these 3 key nutrition rules. So as you can see on your screen here, let's start with rule number 1. And here, we're looking to get 80% of the time, make your meals with single ingredient foods or like a small variety of foods. And this is what it looks like. It means having stuff like steak, sweet potatoes, peppers, any sort of meats that you like, different fruits and veg, different carbohydrate choices, but essentially they all have one ingredient. So having something like that for dinner instead of a ready meal packed with chemicals and preservatives, essentially we're just looking to eat real food. And the reason we want to do this is because good quality nutrition gives us energy, it satisfies our hunger, it improves our health, and obviously there are loads of other benefits as well. So you want to aim to include lots of good quality single ingredient foods and not have the majority of your diet dominated by junk food, ready meals, and any other processed stuff. So let's move on here. As you can see on the screen, rule number 2, and this is really important, that we are flexible 20% of the time. So you should definitely make sure that good quality foods and whole foods, single ingredient foods dominate your daily food intake. And that's why 80% of the time we want to stick to eating single ingredient foods. But as part of our meals, the other 20% of the time you can be flexible and pretty much eat whatever you like or whatever you would consider an indulgent food. So what does that look like? Well, you can see here on the screen, it's okay to have donuts. It's okay to have some junk food, and it's okay to enjoy some foods that aren't so great for you. But don't worry about having these things every now and then, and just make sure that A, they do not dominate your diet, and B, when you do have them, you fit them into your calorie targets for the day. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit more about calories and tracking your food in a bit. But the reason we want them to fit into your calorie targets is so you don't massively overeat, because if you overeat, you consume too many calories, you're going to end up gaining unwanted body fat. And we know to lose body fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. Essentially, this means consuming slightly less calories than our body is burning. Then to build muscle, we need to be in a calorie surplus. So that's where we're going to be consuming slightly more calories than our body's burning, so we can give our body the real building blocks it needs to grow muscle. But within those targets, we can be flexible. We don't have to be clean eating all the time, and that's why it's important to have that 20% of flexibility. So at Thrive, we're big advocates of this approach because it allows you to enjoy your life and not feel like you're on a strict diet all the time, which is fairly painful and draining. It means you can go and have some ice cream when you go to the cinema with your partner, or you can eat some cake at your kid's birthday party, whatever that situation may be. So let's move on to rule number 3, which you can see on your screen here. Now, this is an important one. Rule number 3 is to track your food intake and hit your calorie and macro targets every day. So macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fats. Now, this is important because if you don't track, you can't possibly know if you're eating too much or too little or even being consistent at all. And if you don't know that, then you can't realistically expect yourself to get good long-term results. Like I said, the main reason for tracking is to see if your nutrition targets that have been set to you by your nutrition coach are actually working for you. And by that, I mean, is eating this amount of food actually helping you to hit your goal of either dropping some body fat or putting on some muscle? So to start with, these targets from your coach are going to be an educated estimate using the InBody scan, but they're a great starting point. But then when you check in with your coach and you get your measurements done on using the InBody scan, we can then see that maybe you need to eat more or maybe you need to eat less. We can make those minor adjustments for you. So it's important to try and be as accurate, as consistent as you possibly can. And a great way of doing this is using an app such as MyFitnessPal. Tracking your food allows us to monitor what you're eating and make any adjustments in increasing or decreasing your calorie intake so your progress never plateaus for too long. So as well as sticking to the rule number 1, 80% of the time, making sure your meals are from single ingredient foods. And rule number 2, be flexible 20% of the time. You're also going to try and stick to rule number 3, which is to track your food intake and hit your calorie target every day. An important note is that you're never going to get it 100% spot on to the exact gram or to the exact calorie every day. But a good level of accuracy within 150 calories of your daily calorie intake, let's say it's 2,500 calories. So if you're somewhere between 2,400, 2,600, we're all good. You're never going to get it exactly spot on with the calories, but being the right ballpark is going to do the trick. So here are the 3 nutrition rules. We literally can't make it any simpler than that. They're on the screen now. Read through them. Now, it's not going to be easy because there's lots of things that get in the way of us getting this right every day. There's lots of habits, a lot of hard work, a lot of consistency. But that is as simple and as straightforward as nutrition ever needs to be. And it's just these 3 key rules. And the reason it's just these 3 key rules is because it's easy to understand. It's straightforward. It's easy to put into action. And most importantly, they work and get the job done. They get brilliant results.